And there are also other items that we will just show for information. So this is the agenda. Normally everyone, all RILA members, received it by mail. So welcome, that's already done. And the next point on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So are there any remarks or items to be added? If not, we can also look to the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting in Toulouse. No comments were received by mail, but if any comments have to be made now, also not. Thank you. Okay. So the first item that I wanted to show is the actions following the workshop we had in Toulouse 2024. And well, the major decisions made were already partially also communicated by mail, but it is the first general council after those decisions, so I thought it would be nice to also show them here. So actually the reason of this workshop was that we wanted to have a look how we could make RILAM as an association more sustainable. And there was some discussion about the effect of travel on climate change, and it was discussed if we should keep the RILAM Spring Convention. That was one of the main questions, since the Spring Convention, it does not yet exist all that long. Previously we had only the RILAM Annual Week. So we decided to make a vote, to make a poll for the members. And this is a small overview of the votes. So the votes divided per region, members in Europe, outside Europe, and also the ages above 35 or below 35 being the young members. And then we actually introduced the first question as, air travel is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. But on the other hand, of course, we want the RILAM events to network, people needed to broaden their network and so on. So the question was, should RILAM maintain 2 major on-site events or transition to hosting only the RILAM Annual Week on-site? And actually, there was a small majority for having the annual week as the only yearly on-site event. So you see the difference was not large, but we said from the start that we would pay attention to the outcome, of course, of this vote. So we wanted to make a change regarding the RILAM Spring Convention based on the outcome of the poll. But there were a lot of comments, and especially the members in favor of keeping the RILAM Spring Convention. They put in a lot of motivations why it had to be kept. It was important for in-person interaction, particularly for the early career researchers. There should be a balance of sustainability goals with inclusiveness and regional accessibility. So our proposal was then to have a more balanced decision, as you will see later. But first, the other questions in the poll. So that was then specifically for the RILAM Standing Committees. So like I explained this morning, we have Bureau, DAC, EAC, the RILAM Youth Council, and the boards of editors. Should they meet twice a year in person? And there the outcome was even more obvious. So the standing committees preferred to meet once a year during the RILAM Annual Week, and then the meeting in spring should be held online. There was an additional question about conferences to be held in hybrid mode or not. So you can see here equal parts in the pie. So about 1/3 thought no, 1/3 thought yes. And then we had the additional option, yes, hybrid is fine, but only if the number of online presentations, which can then be pre-recorded, is limited to 30% of the total program. So that was actually a small majority for this option. So, like said, we took everything into account and decided on a quite balanced approach. So taking some actions to reduce travel, but still providing enough opportunities to meet. And we also had in the back of our mind, RILAM is of course a truly international organization, but still the majority of the members come from Europe. And if we then have alternate meetings in and out of Europe, you actually force all European members to travel to another continent, which might have even a negative effect on the carbon dioxide emissions. So we decided to have until 2027, we have already decided on the calendar of our events, so that will remain unchanged. But then from 2028, we will have a biennial model. So in the even years, we would have the Rhineland Week on site in Europe and the Standing Committees meeting online as a second meeting in the European spring. And then in the odd years, we will have the Spring Convention on site in Europe and the Rhineland Week on site outside of Europe. So, like every year, there would at least be an occasion for a meeting in Europe, and still, we will also be having regular meetings outside of Europe. Regarding the hybrid mode, seems to be preferred by by a large part of the members. So we advise the organizers, if feasible, to have the on-site meetings in a hybrid mode, but with at most 30% pre-recorded presentations. Because otherwise, if you just come to look at a screen, it's also not so nice if there are too many online presentations. And the TCs remain free to convene as they choose, but they always will have the opportunity to meet in conjunction with the Spring Convention, then in the odd years and in the annual week. A second outcome of the workshop was that we were thinking also of other measures to be more sustainable. And on the website, we are regularly updating new measures being taken. We call it the Rhineland Green Commitment. Actually, it has been in the mission of Rhineland since its initiation in 1946. It's already to promote sustainable and safe construction. And since 2022, also in the guidelines for the technical committees, the applicants are requested to state how their focus might be related to the environment and sustainability. So in addition, now following the workshop, we created guidelines for the organizers of our events to promote eco-friendly practices. And here are just some examples. Consider accessibility by public transport, give advice for sustainable transport options, provide digital alternatives, so do not provide too much printed materials, use reusable or compostable items for catering, and also try to engage local businesses and leave a positive community impact. Furthermore, related to sustainability, since 2021, we have created together with 5 leading international construction engineering associations the Globe Consensus. You can find more information about this also in our website. And the objective of Globe is actually to engage more with the policymakers to show that construction is related to a lot of sustainability issues and make them aware what we are doing to improve this. So you can find more about this on the website. Actually, there was supposed to be a presentation on Globe in this conference as well, but Karen Scrivener, who is participating, could not be present here in the end. So hopefully in one of the next Rhineland events, there will be presentations specifically on Globe as well. Okay, then this is all for the workshop outcomes. What we have also been doing since the last General Council is to have a thorough evaluation of our statutes and bylaws. So we have been reviewing them. They have been validated by the Bureau members. They have been sent by mail to all the Rhineland members for consideration on the 25th of July. And we were inviting to submit comments. Actually, there are too many changes to go over everything now, so everyone has had a chance to have a look. The changes were highlighted and we did not receive any comments. So in case there would still be comments, if you did not have the chance to have a look at the statutes and bylaws and you still have comments for improvement, or you see some errors that we overlooked, please still send them to the General Secretariat, but they will be then discussed for another adaptation and validated in the next General Council. So now you want to validate the current version of the statutes and bylaws. So if there are still any remarks to be made here, please do so. If not, can I consider the statutes and bylaws as validated? If not, please raise your hand. No objections. Okay. So validation. There have also been some changes in membership of our standing committees. Just to remind you, the candidates for treasurer or bureau members are proposed by the bureau and elected by the general council. So membership of the bureau is for election. And for the standing committee members, these are appointed or renewed by the bureau upon the standing committee's chair or bureau proposal. So here, membership of the standing committees that I will show is for information only. We don't have to decide or validate or elect. So for election, the honorary president for 2026, that's actually the habit of RIPAM that the main organizer or the chair of the organizing committee of the next Ryland week will be given the title of honorary president for that year. So in this case, it is Professor Sylvester Abuda from the University of Nairobi in Kenya. So can everyone approve his election as honorary president? Yes, thank you. Then for the bureau membership, of course, this is then the new composition with our honorary president mentioned. Then the other changes are changes in the standing committees. So these are just for information. So for the TAC membership, we will have a new TAC chair, Professor Daman Panazar from the University of Toronto. So thank you, Daman, for accepting to have this mandate for the next years. Cluster convener, Liberato Ferrara, previous expert in TAC, will take over the position of Cluster B convener. Dr. Augusto Canone Falcetto from the University of Padua will become a new TAC expert. Dr. Tommaso Dantino, you have seen his LANMIT medal presentation, will be the next tax expert. Professor Burgan Biscor from Oregon State University will also join as tax expert. Professor Branko Savica from TU Delft in the Netherlands will join as tax expert as well. And Ruben Snellings from KU Leuven in Belgium will also join TAC as an expert. As well as Gabriela Tibaldi. Here also, he has already been member of several committees, will join now TAC as an expert. So this will become then the new composition of TAC for the next years with the changes indicated in red. And Enrico will be the outgoing chair, still remaining member of TAC for a while. So thanks a lot to all the outgoing TAC members. Yeah, apparently I have to thank myself because I was the previous past TAC chair, so now I will really be out of TAC. But I guess I am still welcome to join the meetings. Also, Professor José Duchesne, Professor Hassan Bay, and Professor Michael Mistuba, thank you all for being active and contributing to TAC. So maybe we have to give an applause now. Thank you. Again, for information, DAC membership. So we have a new DAC expert, Dr. Emmanuel Chailleux from Université Gustave Eiffel in France. A new DAC regional convener for the Pacific region, Dr. Taiwan Kim from Sydney, Australia. A new Japanese national convener, Dr. Kipei Maruyama from University of Tokyo. And this will then be the current or the new DAC membership. Again, thank you to the outgoing DAC members, being Dr. Gabriele Tibaldi, Professor Arno Castel, and Professor Takafumi Noguchi. Thank you again. For the Ryland Youth Council, we also have some changes. Dr. Vicky Trochunso from Politecnico di Milano, you have been seeing her on the stage this morning, will be the next chair of the Ryland Youth Council. And Angela Tete Tabia will become the new deputy chair. There is also a new representative for the South Asia region, Dr. Ishaf Baradhai, sorry, the names are sometimes difficult to pronounce. And for East Europe and Central Asia, we have Dr. Alina Galimshina. For North America and the Caribbean region, we have Dr. Samuel Arnestedt. And for the Latin America region, we have Mr. Julian Camilo Gutierrez Rodriguez. For the Europe region, we will have Dr. Brenda Arias. So this will be the new composition of the Ryla Youth Council. And you can keep enrolling for the outgoing members, Magda Posani, Olga Karkasi, and Jose Amin. For EAC, the Educational Activities Committee, we will have a new chair, Professor Fernando Martirena from Cuba. And as a new member, Dr. Tijaf Baradhwai from India, he will also join EAC. As well as Professor Franco Zondino from UC Berkeley. And this will then be the new EAC membership. So thank you for the outgoing EAC members, Radha Krishna Pillai, Mariana Serdar, Anne Feng, and Dirk Houten. Thanks. For information, Board of Editors of Materials and Structures, no changes there for the moment. For the Ryland Technical Letters, we have a new editor-in-chief, Mateusz Wyrsikowski, also present here. So he will be the new editor-in-chief. And as associate editor, we have Zhang Li Wu joining from Southeast University. So this will be the new composition of our Board of Editors for Ryland Technical Letters. Then we will move to the annual report of the Technical Activities Committee by Angelio Sassoli.
Hello, everyone. So I will now report about the activities of the Technical Activities Committee in the last 1 year. Okay, so yesterday we congratulated our LERMIT medal Professor Tommaso Dantino from Politecnico of Milan. We heard his presentation about composites in the construction sector. Earlier this year, we also assigned the Colonetti medals for 2025 to Dr. Francolis Canavaris and Dr. Zeming Li, even though, yes, I think that's a mistake. Dr. Deng Bun Zhao, Zheng Li was for the previous year, I think. So sorry about this typo. So we heard their plenary presentations in Mendrisio in March. Regarding next year, Robert Lermita and Gustavo Colonetti medals, so we have approved a few changes in the procedure for assigning the medals, which I remind everybody are assigned to researchers below 40 years in the case of Robert Lermita and below 35 in the case of the Gustavo Colonetti medal. So the changes will be an earlier deadline, November 13, which doesn't seem too different from the previous ones. So perhaps this is not actually a change, so an earlier deadline and being discussed, maybe not. So the deadline will be November the 13th. The changes include the nomination of a higher number of experts, so it will be 3 experts instead of 2, like in the previous, let's say, editions. The changes include the fact that we, again, have expanded the composition a little bit. So in addition to the TAC chair, we will have the editor-in-chief of material and structures, like before, but we also introduced the editor-in-chief of a Rallian technical letter, as well as 3 experts appointed by TAC to cover, let's say, a wider variety of topics compared to before. For the next column, we also decided to ask the candidates to include up to 3 names of experts that could provide, let's say, reference letters or comments on the candidates. So this could be contacted by the jury once they are indicated in the application material. A further change regards the extension of the age limit, which is granted, let's say, in cases where a career interruption occurred for several reasons. So you see listed here some of the reasons that may lead to a delay in the career of the candidates, but these are not all the possible cases. So what we require to the candidates is to specify the exact duration of the interruption and to describe what is the effect that this interruption has produced onto their career and their activity. So you will find all of this specified in the call for application that will be released in the fall, or maybe actually quite soon. Regarding the medal jury, so I mentioned that we will have 3 experts. So you see here the 3 actually member of the medal jury that we have appointed for next year. So Professor Mariana Serdar from Croatia, you see here had experience in Rhineland, so she's now an EAC member, or you have seen that she has actually just terminated her mandate, as well as Professor Gabriele Tebaldi, who again has a long history in Rhineland, and Professor Aru Menon from ET Madras, who is currently a cluster convener in tax. So we thank them for their availability to serve as experts in the medal jury. So to summarize, you see here the composition of the medal jury for next year that will be chaired by Professor Damar Palezar, who has just been nominated as the new TAC expert, as well as the editor-in-chief of the journals, and let's remember, as well as the Rhineland secretary, as a non-voting member. Okay, among the activities that we have done in TAC, both in March and here in Hanoi a couple of days ago, so we have reviewed the activities of the TCs. We have closed in total 4 TCs that had reached the end of their activity. You see here the numbers. This morning we heard a presentation about from the TC 2954 MPA that just was closed here in Hanoi. We also assigned the numbers to some TCs that started their activity 1-2 years ago and that are progressing well in their work. So they were assigned the numbers that you see in the slide. Moreover, both in Mendrisio and here in Hanoi, we approved some new TC proposals. You see here the titles as well as the prospective chairs. So they were assigned to different clusters, cluster A, B, and D, which again is a sign of how, let's say, different topics are covered in Rhineland, especially the last one, indoor air quality, something that is quite new to Rhineland. So we keep on, let's say, diversifying our topics of interest. So everybody who is interested in joining these new TCs is welcome to do so. You will find more information on this specific TCs as well as the procedure to join a TC on the Rhineland website. Everything is explained quite well. Okay, so something that we did here in Hanoi, following something that was decided earlier in Toulouse and Mendrisio, is to try to further help and facilitate the activity of the TCs, especially the very big one with more than 100 members. So what we did was to send a survey to the technical committees with more than 100 members to, let's say, collect indication of possible issues that they are facing, especially when the number of members is high. So to manage, let's say, the discussion, the experimental activity, publications, and so on might become challenging, and also to collect, let's say, best practices, so solutions that the TC chairs have found in one TC, which could be of interest also to the other TCs and so on. So from the practical point of view, what we will do right after the Ireland Week here in Hanoi will be to send to all the TC chairs a document providing some suggested best practices, so with indications of how they could, let's say, improve their activity regarding these 5 points that you see listed in the slides. So in particular, the definition of the member roles, so how to distinguish between what we call observers and active members. So we had received requests about some possible guidance about how to distinguish between these two roles. So you will receive some best practices about this, as well as how often, how regularly to check the membership of the TCs, as well as we thought that creating a so-called communication coordinator within the TC could be something useful for the activity of the TC itself. So somebody who might, let's say, oversee the communication within the TC and also between the TC, the Ireland General Secretariat, as well as the public in general, meaning also through social media and so on. As I mentioned, so managing discussion in large TCs might become complicated. So we will provide some ideas about how to improve that, as well as regarding the publication phase that usually takes place at the end of the TC. Again, we will send some recommendations about how to proceed in that regard. So I think was this last slide. If there's any questions, of course, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I say bye.
First, I have to understand in which way. Okay. So I will be representing the DAC chair, Wolfram Schmidt, who couldn't make it today. So to start with, I want to remind you what is DAC about. DAC advises Bureau on the development policy and international relations. This may include management and development of RILAN, promotion of RILAN activities, and evaluation of international activity. So the management of the association includes the membership tracking. Each year or twice a year during DAC meetings, we are having a look at the membership evolution. As you can see, we have an overall number of members which keeps on growing. We are reaching in June 2025 3,400 members in 100 countries. And this does not include our free members, about 200 each year. As a reminder, we have two categories, the individual and the corporate members. So young members are keeping on increasing. We're reaching 44% of our individual members. Well, 44% of our individual members are young, which is a very good sign. Thank you to the Rally Wisconsin group. And as a reminder also, that all the corporate have staff the staff of the corporate. They represent nowadays almost 1,400, 300. We always invite our individual member to suggest a corporate membership to the institution. We have new corporate members each year. This is the numbers for 2025 and the previous one the year before. And you can see here the increase by region, the RIBAM region. So all the regions have seen an increase in the number of members except Pacific. The number of women, the proportion of women is also increasing. This year we'll have been reaching 31%, whereas it was a bit less last year. Okay, so the DAC member, they also discuss at each of their meetings how to retain those members and also attract new ones. So this is some of the role of the national and regional convener. How do they do this? They receive a list of all the members by region, and they're in charge to interact with those members, sending them information, making sure they pay their membership as well, and so on. Those same regional convener and national convener, they do organize events in the region, and they present Freiland during those events. This year, we decided to create a new local webinar to attract new members again. This will be local with local representative and local time investing, addressing local scientific questions. And we are hoping we will be able to launch this before the next Rhino week, the Kenya week, so that we can attract more delegates to the Kenya week. So we also decided during this DAC meeting, the last DAC meeting, that we will create a form and a specific logo for the promotion of our partners event and also some selected industrial events. And as Sub-Saharan Africa has been identified as a strategic region, we have also created 2 new grants, one for mobility, researcher mobility, and one for which is called Events Facilitator Grant, and we hope we will be able to launch those grants in 2026. We finalize recommendation for sustainable events, and we will suggest to candidates for our upcoming event that they may let us know in which way, which approach they would like to implement regarding sustainability. Finally, we are going to create 2 task groups, one with the liaison committee, which involved all the associations that you can see below, on artificial intelligence, and the second one will be a task group on code of conduct. And I think that's it. Thank you. And now, surrender.
Thank you. Good evening. So this is the first General Council meeting I'm attending. So I thought, okay, we need to include the information from Spring Convention till the end of the week. So yeah, only those informations are included in the presentation. So so this is the map showing the young membership and different regions. And so when we were formed in 2020, the membership was around, we had a target of every year will be increasing by 300. Up to now, we were achieving those targets. And last year target of membership was 900. We had 21 more members than 900 target. And the next RYC team is very optimistic. So they have a target of 1200 plus by the end of the end of the August next year. So yeah, so the Rhythm Youth Council will be coming with our own symposium, Rhythm Youth Symposium. So we had polls, and then we have received around 240 contributions all around the world, and we managed those papers. We took help of Rhythm officers, technical committee members. So thank you everyone for reviewing 240 articles for us, and finally we have selected 128 out of 240, and then in this 128 papers, 90 were full length papers, and around 24 were extended abstract, and few were posters. If you see the by reason, obviously as expected, we had the highest contribution from Europe, and as far as the countries are concerned, highest contribution was from India. So in this Rhythm Youth Council, the standing committee, we had our first standing committee here in Hanoi. Last year it was formed the standing committee. It was on a probation phase for 1 year. We finished it. So we had our first on-site meeting, and again thanks to Rhythm for sponsoring the travel for all the Rhythm Youth Council members. And so we decided that majority of the youth should be attending this symposium. Then so 2 decisions were made. First one, it will be purely online, and it will be happening across 2 days, and we'll be having 5 parallel sessions so that most of the people will be able to attend. And finally, after this, we'll be coming out with some awards. We'll be having Best Paper Award, And the young author of the best paper award, basically the PhD scholar or the emerging researcher, will be encouraging them to submit their papers in materials and structures, and the best poster awardee will be encouraging them to submit the paper in the technical, like dialogue technical. Yeah. So there were some decisions which were formed in our first meeting, in on-site meeting. As far as the attendance is concerned, we planned that the RYC members whose attendance is more than 50% will be continuing, and then if the attendance is less than 50%, and then we will start looking for the new Railam Youth Council members in that particular region. Also, there was a request that came from the cluster F that we can help them in conducting the poster competition and the three minute thesis competition ISBM, and we decided that yes, we'll be helping them out. Logistics need to be discussed, that we'll be discussing, and also we requested Random to help us by giving around 500 euros, so that in this event when we'll go there, we'll want to have some interaction with the youth there, maybe, and then some consumables will be there in, let's say, in terms of pizza or something else, so that the networking would be fruitful. And the the bureau has approved this thing. Thank you for that. Uh, Up to now, our flagship program was peer-to-peer webinar, where we invited two PhD scholars or the emerging researchers to speak on a topic, and those webinars were uploaded on the Railam YouTube channel. So what we have decided that we made two decisions. First thing, earlier it was specific to one region. Now we want to do it multiple regions. Second one, that we want to conduct these peer-to-peer webinars in collaboration with other Railam members. And the third decision that we made uh, regarding peer-to-peer webinar, that we can do it in local languages. Then there was a request that we need to conduct some scientific skills seminar. We'll start with the sub-Saharan region, where we'll go there, we'll organize some seminar like how to write papers, how to conduct the research, how to make the presentations, those small things. We wanted to do it. So we came up with some topics. Now we have to identify the speakers. And then again, after interacting with different regions, we found that there are some institutions which wherein we have very good researchers, but they don't have the funding to travel. Let's say some dedicated conference is there, or they want to do some testing. So we requested, and it was approved that we can increase the Railam Youth Council funds from 8,000 to 10,000 euros, so that that extra amount will be used for the supporting the researchers. Yeah, and then as part of the Railam Youth Symposium, it will be happening every 2 years. This is one Railam alone is doing. Next time we want to plan it with other partners such as FIV. We already had a discussion with FIV youth members. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be here. Now, Mr. Fernandez.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, I was appointed as the chair of the EAC committee, but this time I'm presenting on behalf of Karen Scriven, who was the past chair of the committee and couldn't come to the meeting. You see, these are the main topics that we are dealing with in our committee, especially what we call the PhD courses that are normally pre-congress courses associated with the conference, or can be also independent courses organized. In this case, the EAC revises the terms and the contents of the congress and approves and gives a sponsor to that. The Rock and Talk seminars or webinars that are very successful. It's a 1 hour presentation with half an hour questions and answers, and afterwards a recording of that is uploaded to YouTube channel. Also, in every Railam annual meeting, we organize pre-congress courses, as it was done here this time, and we're discussing about how we're going to do it for the next one in Kenya. and also the EPON, which is about information portal online that really right now. As you realize here, we have a very good list of courses. I mean, many options in many regions for many people. It's more in Europe, but also there is something in Africa, in North America, and we believe that this is increasing compared to previous years that we have analyzed. So we consider this is healthy. In terms of the Open Talk seminars, we keep doing this. This is the coordination of Professor Branoy from the University of Miami. We are very successful in terms of participants, so we're having between 100 and 300 participants. And of course, we want to have more. Every time we want to have more, but I think that this is also in these courses, we're having a very good age balance between young and senior. These courses are especially interesting for young scholars, PhD students, but also senior professors can access also information. And we have already a list of potential speakers defined until August 26. You know, this has to be approved by the AAC committee. It's already approved. And even beyond August 26, we already have a list, a pool of people who are interested or who could give interesting talks as part of the Open Talk. In that same wavelength, we have the Spanish Open Talk. We're coordinating this from Latin America, and we Rylan is also focusing on doing these seminars in other languages. So there was an experience with Chinese Open Talk, and yeah, we're open for any other proposal in any other language. But in the case of the Open Talk, we were able to hold the first one last July. It was very successful with around 70 participants from the region. And now we are covered until July 26. These are approved speakers for the were recently approved for their presentation. In terms of the pre-congress courses, although we are open and flexible for the format of these courses, we found very appropriate the format of this conference. So we had courses on cement and concrete, we had courses on earth construction, and we had courses on asphalt. And within the cement and concrete, we had some specific course on durability, concrete durability. For Kenya, we're trying to stick to the same format, although we are flexible. That depends also on the local demand that there's there. We are in interaction with the local organizers, and we will decide that. In terms of the education portal, there's a lot of information there, more than 26 different sources. We think it is important. I mean, we're happy that we have this in this new format. It's more accessible, but we're not happy with the amount of people accessing this. We think that there could be a large number of people, especially young scholars, accessing this information and profiting from the amount of information that is out there. I'm talking about online courses, articles, uh, proceedings, etc. So there's a lot of information in there. With this, I'm done. We'll switch. Any questions?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Manuel Wyrzegowski, and I have pleasure to present for you for the first time in the role of editor-in-chief of Ryan Technical Letters. I use this opportunity to appreciate very much my nomination. I'm very honored by that. In case you are wondering what are my interests, this picture basically says it all. It's concrete. I'm from Embassy, Switzerland, concrete and asphalt. So, to the journal, Rhineland Technical Letters. A short summary, what the journal is, because I still hear from people that every now and then it's not clear what's the role of the journal. So we publish scientific papers that are devoted to major research or strategic research needs in the field of construction engineering materials. But they are not regular scientific papers. By definition, we publish papers that are short, to the point, synthetic, if you will, letters. Discussion, overview, especially those that can find new novel research topics are of interest for the journal. And we also publish a number of letters from technical committees, that is the opening and closing statements, scientific statements. The journal is published by Rhineland, so we are independent from any publishing house and has been published by Rhineland since the start. And one of the major points since the very start of the journal, and at that point it was something still new, the journal is fully open access. And not only is open access, so anyone can access it, it's also free of charge for any Rhineland member. So there are no publication fees as soon as any author is Rhineland member. So if this one author is Rhineland member or become Rhineland member upon submission, and then it's for free. And we publish letters on invitation by editorial board, so the process is still open. But of course, we are happy to, if you reach out and propose letters, and in this way we can arrange the invitation for you. Yes, so I will use this opportunity to give a little bit of overview. It's been already 10 years, basically, since the journal was formed. Also to acknowledge the great work of previous editors. So the journal was founded in 2016, and the founding editor-in-chief was Nicolas Roussel. And at that time, I was managing editor of the journal, taking care of the technical issues. A year later, we appointed 10 associate editors. By now, it's 18. You will see it in a second. And the journal was taken over by Alexandra Bertrand in 2019. Giovanni Pisari and Luisa Miranda as managing editor joined the journal a year ago, and I had this privilege to take over from Alexandra in March, from March this year. The team of associate editors, a great team that offers a lot of commitment to Rhineland and to the journal. 18 of them, but we are inviting new editors as we speak to provide more diversity even in the team, to reflect all interested Rhineland basically. And what the new rule introduced now is there is the term of editors, renewable term of editors of 4 years. Yes. The journal is in a very good health when we talk about the status. So since 2017, there has been 9 volumes published. We publish 1 volume per year with around 20 papers in a volume, because it's all on meditation. And volume 10 is now in course. Until now, it's been over 180 articles with, I'm proud to say, 320,000 downloads, which means the median download per article, number of downloads per article is over 1,900, which is a very, very high number, I would say. And this is reflected, of course, in the indexes. We are indexed in Scopus and in Scimago, so the Elsevier proprietary indexes. In Scimago, we are in Q1, and you can see here in this, this becomes a bit unstable. You can see that since it was indexed here in 2018, the index is increasing continuously. The same in Scopus. This is the so-called size score, a similar metric to impact factor, only is calculated for 4 years, not for 2 years, but according to the same principle. And this year, we are happy to reach 7. Last year it was 5. So the increase is in fact very prominent in how the journal is received by the journal public, how much it is sized. And with that, I thank you very much for your attention. Please visit us. Even now, just scan the code, get there online. It is mobile compatible. Read it, spread the news. The word about the journal is not really new at this point after 10 years. And again, consider publication there. Thank you very much.
a short intermezzo by me again. So the annual weeks, the next ones. So you already know about the Nairobi one in 2026. And then in 2027, as I already said this morning, we will go to Bali, Indonesia, with Professor Puput Rizanari, also in the audience. Then the next spring convention will be in Ghent, Belgium. We will be hosting it. And then the year after, we will go to Thessaloniki in Greece. And I just want to mention that we also publish yearly an annual report and a technical report. So the annual report is giving more general information on RILAM, and the technical report, there you can find feedback on the activities of all the technical committees. Okay, and then I hand over to Daniela Chancho, our implementation manager.
This one is the government now? Yeah. Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. This is a little outline of what I'm going to present, the performance of the communication channels, a little bit invitation to engage with the spread of the news of RILAM, some example of the activity in terms of dissemination of RILAM news, industry engagement, RILAM partners, and public relations and strategic RILAM events. So RILAM at the moment posts on free social media. LinkedIn is the one performing better. You can see the number of followers from beginning of 2019 until now. So the followers keep growing. Not as much on YouTube and Facebook, but for different reasons. The posts are more or less the same. It's just the platform LinkedIn is the one that works better. As Nera was saying, we have these two reports. I'm personally in charge of the technical report that, by the way, has been released last week. And during the first day, I checked, and after less than 24 hours, it had been downloaded already 350 times. So it's a book that I think it's a reference for the activities of the RILAM technical committees, but also the annual report just to spread the news about RILAM. So please download it and circulate it if you can. We have a group on LinkedIn to advertise a position for PhD students, postdoc, or early career researchers. You can join and post if you have something to spread, or you can ask me to post for you. It's quite useful, and this is growing as well. It's very young as a group, but it's already 1,500, almost 600 members. The RILAM website, it is visited on an average of 1,000 by 1,000 people every day. And you can see the peaks are related to the days in which we release the newsletter, the bits and bobs every Wednesday. When through the newsletter we catch more visitors on this website. We are trying to see if we can go on other platforms. So I recently opened 2 more accounts on Blue Sky and Threads, but RILAM at the moment is not visible. So the purpose of this presentation is in case you have an account on Blue Sky and Threads, if you would like to follow the page and see what happens. We're not sure that we will continue with this, but we're giving a go. An invitation regarding what I was talking about, the engagement of RILAM members. Many of you post a lot on LinkedIn. When you mention RILAM, please tag the association. Not hashtag, but the symbol of the email, because by doing that, I will receive a notification that RILAM has been tagged, and I can spread it. I can like the post, I can repost it, and also you get more visibility. So just remember to, when you mention RILAM in your post, just tag the association, please. A few examples of my activities as RILAM implementation manager. I help to get some visibility for certain papers or certain activities, like, for example, this interview with the author of a RILAM technical letters paper on heritage conservation, or an interview with the editor-in-chief of Material and Structures, just to say what is the journal. and the interview with Magda and Nikki from the Roland Youth Council to promote the Roland Youth Symposium happening in October very soon. We want to engage, Roland would like to engage with more industrial members. So there is this series of posts coming out every Friday on all social, not only on LinkedIn, and it's called Discover the Roland Corporate Members. You can see that some of them are quite successful, so they are very much liked, and they're also reposted because I tagged the association, which is a corporate member. Other posts are not so successful. So if you happen to be linked to the affiliated to this corporate member, remember to like the post and repost it. Still in the topic of the industry engagement, a few years ago we started this series of interview with the Roland industrial members that endorse Roland. So they tell us why it is important for them to be in Roland. We're thinking to launch again these interviews. So if you would like to suggest some industrial corporate member in Roland with which you work a lot, please feel free to contact me and say, Daniela, you should interview this guy because he's very active in Roland and he will be happy. It's a win-win situation. The corporate member gains visibility and we gain the endorsement from the industrial corporate member. Roland, the number of partners increased a lot recently. I had regular meetings with them at least once a year. And for instance, the keynote speakers from Nexel this morning, Professor Lee Kwan, she is from Nexel, so that was something that came from the collaboration between Nexel and Roland. One last slide, public relations at strategic events. Roland sends me to various events during the year, besides the Spring Convention and the Annual Week. So, for instance, in June I was in Ancona for this conference, the EATA conference, and as soon as I go back to Europe, I will go to Padova for the Historical Motors conference. When you apply for a co-sponsorship event, to co-sponsor your event, please remember to, if interested in having a Roland desk at your event, with a Roland representative, chatting to people, engaging with people, just let me know, and we can evaluate if it's the case for me to attend to this event. It's just to have more visibility of Roland during these events. Thank you very much.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to present the finance situation of Roland. For your approval, the consolidated finance of 2024, and also the estimation for 2026, and some information about ongoing budget of 2025. First, just as a reminder, there is two companies, separate companies in Roland. Roland Association is a non-profit entity, and Roland Publication company that may make profit. And all the finance, in fact, are provided by L'Accounteur Sator company. First, for your approval, I will present the situation first of Roland Association. You can see that the situation turned around positively from 2023, go to the expenses and to the total, from a result of minus 100,000 euros to a positive result in 2024 of 3,000, a little profit of 3,585 euros. This is thanks to the increase of the income, net paid fees by the membership, from 380 euros to 450,000 euros, and a reducing of the expenses. Second, for your approval, this is the Rider Association position. We will put this 3,000 euros in the equity in red, and our equity will pass from 530,000 euros to 560,000 euros. Then I need your approval. Who is against? Abstain? Thank you. Approved. Now, about Rider Publication Company. You can see that Rider Publication Company, more of the money is come from the royalties, and you can see that the royalties decrease from 2023 to 2024 from 230,000 euros. This is the royalties of Springer to Rider Publication Company, and a reduction to 197,000 euros in 2024. Then this results in a decrease of the final result from 56,000 to 16,000. Also, we had some more salaries, and the other numbers change in terms of expenses. Then we will put the positive result in the equity, and then you can see that the total will move from 500, the equity from 461,000 euros to 477,000 euros. Then I need your approval for this result added to equity. Who is against? No problem. Okay. Abstain? Okay, then approved. Thank you. Then the total. I need the approval for the total. Rider Public Association and Rider Publications. Who is against? Abstain? Then it's approved. Thank you. This is now the consolidated result. Rider Consolidated, it means the two companies, association and publication together. Then we have a total of result, which means we added the two entities together, okay, of minus 44,000 euros in 2023 to a positive result consolidated in 2024 of almost 20,000 euros. Which means that the total expenses estimated, this is the total expenses, total income estimated, it was not in Toulouse, just before, yeah, expected in General Council of Toulouse. We expect 6,000 positive results estimated, and we did a positive result. This is in a good way. This is a good, very good estimation. The result is finally 20,000 positive results, which is really nice. And we will put all this in the equity. Now, I will give you some information about the midterm financial results of 2025. We are in August, more than the midterm. And then I will give you, for your approval, the projection and the estimation for 2026. Since, in fact, this 2025 was approved in the General Council, the estimation was approved in the General Council of Toulouse. Then I will give you only the information. First, about publication, writing publication. We will have 236, which means 191 kilo euros, which is the royalties, plus 45,000 euros of stipend, which, and then we will have 236 euros, this is because the number of paper in 24 increased. Then there is normally no problem to have this money, and the paper in material and structure jumped from 247 to 270 papers. Estimation of income for Rhineland company, the total expected fees is around 440. This is the paid fees by the membership in Rhineland. We did it. Then we can expect to have a little bit more at the end of September because there is always some late payment, which means that compared to what we invoiced in the beginning of the year, 500, the efficiency is really good. Is around 87% of the invoice, and in fact is at the end paid. Then the total income expected at the end of this year will be 692,000 when we add the Rhineland application plus the membership. And you can see that the membership grow from 2020 from 330 to 440. Then we have more than 120,000 euros more in terms of membership. Now, this is the information, a reminder of the information when we will put all the expenses and the incomes. At the end of this year, 2025, we will see, normally we will have a negative result of minus 27,000. And here we put all the expenses and all the estimated income. We will see at the end what will be the result. Okay, this is the equity estimation of the equity of the association. We will roughly, we are always around 1 million euro, a little bit less. At the end of 2025, the equity will be around 968,000 euros. Okay, now I will need your approval for 2026. Then the membership fees, we will try to go up and to continue this growing situation of the membership paid, okay, to 450,000 euro instead of 440 this year. Okay, we will see. The publication activity will be stable normally around 230,000 because the number of paper is continue growing or is stable around 270 paper. And this is the financial product because we put some money on the bank with some results of 22,000. Will make our income expected in 2026 around 700,000 euros. Okay, a little bit growing compared to 2025. Then, for your approval, the projection for 2026 will be total expenses 737,000 euros because we will maybe put more money for the youth and for the communication and for Rhineland development. And the total income 700. This is what I presented just in the previous slide. And the result has to be around minus 35,000. Who is against? Abstain. Approve. Thank you. Then we can pay the staff for the next year. Very important. And I finish. Thank you very much.
Okay. Finally, we come to an overview of the Rhineland Awards, PhD travel grants, fellowships, and honorary memberships. So, to remind you, the PhD travel grants have been implemented in 2018 for the first time. And this award we give every year for the RILAM Annual Week to PhD students under the age of 35 and residing in any of the countries where a special discount, the RILAM membership fee, is applicable. So the 2025 PhD travel awardees who are now attending this conference are, well, there is a picture there from left to right. Yeah, I don't know if I should start reading the names. I'm worried that I will not pronounce them correctly. So, but I hope I will meet them later also after the meeting or tonight, and then we can introduce ourselves in person. Oh, that was a bit too fast. As RILAM Fellows, that's also the RILAM Fellowships and the RILAM Honorary Memberships we give every year to RILAM members who have given special services to RILAM and who have distinguished themselves by being active in many technical committees and standing committees and so on. So I will just go over it. The first RILAM Fellow that we have distinguished this year, and actually the fellowships and honorary memberships were given yesterday in the RILAM Banquet, so this is just for your information for all of the General Council. So the first one was for Professor Bernard Hofko from the Technische Universiteit Wien. Second for, sometimes it switches too fast, for Professor Keiichi Yamamoto from Tokyo University of Science in Japan. For Dr. Pierre Pimienta from CSTB, France. For Professor Tomoki Shiwatani from Kyoto University, Japan. For Dr. Pranoy Suraneni from University of Miami, USA. For Dr. Mateusz Jusikowski from EMPA, Switzerland. And then this is a posthumous honorary membership that we wanted to give to Dr. Esperanza Menendez for the great services she has delivered for RILAM, the membership of many standing committees and TCs. So we really wanted to still transfer this for her to her family, that we really appreciate all the work she has done for RILAM. And then finally for Professor Mette Geiker from NTNU, Norway. So then the only remaining fact on the agenda, I think, is to announce the next General Council meeting, which will then of course be held during the 80th RILAM Annual Week in Nairobi, Kenya. That's all, folks. So any other business? There were no additional points mentioned initially for the agenda, but if there are still remarks or questions now, I'm happy to take them. If not, I think we can all prepare for the RILAM Banquet. See you there.
So it's both front west.